Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Courtside with Beilinson Tennis, part of the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. Tonight, we have with us a cardio tennis consultant to the USTA, Michele Krause. Michele is based out of Florida, but has conducted cardio tennis sessions all over the world. She's been featured on Tennis Channel's 1 Minute Clinics and USPTA on Court, among many additional channels. It is my pleasure to have her on tonight. Please welcome to the pod, cardio tennis's own Michele Krause. Michele, thank you for taking time and talking all things cardio tennis because it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, David, for having me. And you know how excited I am to talk about cardio tennis.
Oh,
So
without a doubt, and we're gonna get a lot into that. But before we get into that, I want to hear from you, your background in tennis, your junior and collegiate experiences, and then we'll kind of transition into your teaching and then how cardio tennis came about.
Sure. So I always kind of chuckle a little bit when somebody asks me about my playing background because I didn't really have a big playing background. I was kind of one of those kids that did all sports and was pretty good at most of them, but not necessarily great at one. And when I went to college, playing tennis in my was not in my goal setting. I'm a Chicago girl born and raised, and I wanted to go to warm weather. So I was very set on going to Arizona State, which, as you can imagine, always has a very good tennis team. And there was no way in the whole world that would even have been able to play with those gals at that time. But I do think that because I didn't play college ball and because I wasn't so ingrained in the structure and competition of tennis, I think that's one of the main reasons why I am still in tennis at this age and why I still have so much passion and energy for it. So I think it's okay that I did not play college ball.
Oh, 100%. Okay. And we could see, anyone talking with you can see the passion that you have for tennis and specifically cardio tennis. Now, let's kind of get into after college, you were teaching tennis, right? Cardio tennis was not in you
No.
didn't even think about it.
And I didn't know that tennis was going to be my career either. So after college, I was still goofing around a bit, as some of us do, others don't. And I was teaching tennis. And the thing was, I kept teaching tennis, like nothing ever really pivoted from that. And again, the love for it and coaching it just stuck with me and I never stopped.
So, I mean, how did the cardio tennis part come about? I mean, because that has been your life for quite a while right
For
now.
a long time, yeah. So, I won't make the story too long, but we'll go back to 2004. And at the time, I was living in a place called Punta Gorda, Florida, and that was when Hurricane Charlie hit. And at the time, that was a very bad hurricane pre-Katrina. So we were dealing with the the after effects of Katrina, and I was kind of done with tennis, partly because of the hurricane. And I saw an advertisement in one of our tennis industry publications, and it said, looking for new program, looking for cardio tennis manager. And I just saw that description and I was like, oh my goodness, that is me. Like if there is a picture to go with that definition, it's me. And so I, submitted my resume and, therefore the rest is a little bit history. But I was actually just going to quit tennis. And cardio tennis, the concept came about, it was under the umbrella of the Tennis Industry Association. And Jim Baugh, who at the time was the TIA president and a USTA national board member, he always looked at statistics and numbers in everything that he did. And he saw that at that time, fitness activities were kicking the butt of traditional sports. So, all traditional sports, not just tennis, basketball, soccer, volleyball, football. And he is a great visionary, and he thought to himself, what can tennis do to compete in that fitness arena? And that was how the concept of cardio tennis was really born and started. And here we are, many, almost 2 decades later, not quite. And it's really part of our tennis culture. Whether you're in the United States or in a lot of other countries, it's part of today's current tennis culture.
It certainly is. And the graphic behind you shows, you got a lot of people. When we release this, the video version of it, you'll see the graphic behind Michele. There's a lot of kids, a lot of people on a court.
Right.
If you don't mind, talk a little bit about the drills you can do, the number of players on a court, how many pros are needed. You can I know you and I have talked, we can scale it
Right.
to a person's age or ability as well. So if you can kind of
Yeah.
go into a little detail, that would be great.
There's a lot of flexibility within this program. It's also not the easiest thing to deliver, at least to deliver well. It's a lot of multitasking, but we try to keep it to 6 to 8 athletes per court. And notice I say athlete because there's an athlete in all of us. And the reason it's 6 to 8 is because, one, the best drills and games are designed for that number. It is a very social class, social experience. I will argue that it's the most social group fitness activity out there. So if you're getting to lower numbers, you lose the ability to play the best games, and you also lose that social component. If you start adding more, if you get into the 9, 10 plus range, candidly, you are not giving each of those athletes the ideal workout. So it's much more difficult for the instructor to manage and keep people moving and keep heart rates elevated. There is a very specific format to it, like all group fitness classes. So there is a warm-up. The warm-up in cardio tennis is very sport specific. That means that we're going to start with active dynamic movement and stretching. And then we're going to do a catching and tossing skill because, as you know, David, tennis is a sending receiving sport. And then we go into some light hitting. That is followed by drill, which we only do for like 10 minutes. Okay. Because the purpose of drill is to get the strokes warmed up so we're ready to play games. And then the bulk of that 60 minutes is games, which is so exciting. And of course, we win because there's no other fitness activity in the world that has games. Okay, so we should celebrate those games every time. And then we do a nice quick cool down that is actually quite skill-based, and we're working on things like touch and control.
Amazing.
So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. Believe me, I've seen a lot of this, and you and I have talked several times now. I mean, it's so great. And kind of what I said earlier, you can have a 12-year-old with a 60-year-old on the same court, and it doesn't matter age, or there's some, like you said, games that are skill based, but generally you can mix and match pretty flexible.
You can mix and match, and you've witnessed it, you've heard it. In my recent visit to Chicago, we had a multi-court event, and our oldest participant was 83 years old, and he was out there with a bunch of 30-year-olds. So it was
There you
quite.
go.
But what makes that possible is the use of the orange fitness ball, because it is magical. And those that deliver cardio tennis really well are using that ball because of all of its benefits: safety, equalizer, improved strokes, etc. That could be a whole nother podcast for us, David. So we'll
Yeah,
just
for
leave it
sure.
there.
Down the road for sure. Hey, I got to ask you to brag a little bit about yourself. I mean, you've done these sessions all over the world.
Yeah.
Tell the listeners about where you've traveled and where you've conducted a lot of the cardio tennis sessions.
Yeah, I've been quite lucky. I've been to some very unique places in the world. I've Shanghai, China, and Australia, and Belgium, Ireland, most of the European countries, Poland. It's allowed me to see the world. I've had some really very unique experiences. To your point, we had mentioned a couple different things on the tennis channel. Cardio tennis was also featured on The Biggest Loser.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember you and I were talking about that.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that, and it was a number of years ago, but it was great because it was the second week of the show, so I think we were still at 14 um, participants, and they were very heavy, at the time, and none of them played tennis, and they all did cardio tennis, and absolutely, they had smiles on their faces, where normally when they're working out, they're crying or they're throwing up or they're very sad. They were very happy with cardio tennis. I also did another show. It was a Canadian-based show. It was called The Bulging Brides. And the premise of the show was that the bride needed to lose like 15 to 20 pounds before her wedding. And so each series was her journey. And one of those, series, we did cardio tennis.
That's
So
amazing. That's amazing. That's so funny. I know you and I have talked about, and you've marketed the cardio tennis platform unbelievably well. I know you have a couple of dream scenarios out there about how you would love to market it, even on a grander scale. If you don't mind, if you can share that, what you've already shared with me, it's pretty wild what you have. And I think maybe we can do this.
we might. I think we're getting closer, David. So yes. So I think my big vision, and of course, we would really like this to happen at our U.S. Open, because cardio tennis was born in the United States, and I would like, obviously Arthur Ashe Stadium would be the ideal. And if we had some of our most famous tennis celebrities, like our Roger Federer, Serena, Venus, Rafa, but we need 6 celebrities, and they would be on stadium court, all wearing heart rate monitors, playing the signature cardio tennis game triples with their heart rate data being shown up on the Jumbotron. And I think if the world saw that everybody would want to do cardio tennis.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people that in the higher ups in the tennis industry. I think we got to push for that a little bit because that
Push.
truly would be something special.
Yeah.
For those that want to learn more, and there's so much great information out there. The main site is cardiotennis.com, right?
Correct. Yes.
And
So, and that's a good place for consumers to go if they want to learn a little more. Instructors can go as well. And right now, we're really pushing. We have a Facebook group called the Cardio Tennis Instructor Network. And that is a great resource for our instructors all over the world, actually.
okay, and that's on Instagram as well. You can find it on Instagram.
Yes, we have Cardio Tennis Instructor on Instagram as well.
Okay. And for specific emails, if they need to get in touch with you, they can contact me, or are they able to get in touch with you directly?
Yeah, anybody is very welcome to contact me. That would be michelle.krause@contractor.usta.com. So I'm very easy to find and very accessible to all.
And the spelling, if you don't mind, your
Yeah.
your last name, spell the last names. It's Michelle.Kraus, even though it's
Yes.
pronounced Krause, at contractor.usta.com.
Correct. Yes.
Michelle, thank you for taking time. I know you're busy right now. I know you're traveling a lot. This is great. You and I have had a couple great conversations. I love what you're doing. It's been around for quite a while, and I think it's just growing and growing.
Yeah, I think I always say that we have not reached the potential with cardio tennis. There is just so much more that, we can do. as colleagues, as an industry, and have cardio tennis the recognition that it is the most social, fun, engaging group fitness workout out there.
Well, cardio tennis is lucky to have you as involved as you are currently today, and well into the future. Because again, the energy and the passion is there, and I love it. And thank you for taking time today and teaching us all about it.
You're welcome, and would be happy to come back again, and we can talk on more topics if you like, David.
Absolutely, for sure. Thank you so much, Michele. We'll talk soon.
All right, thank you, David.